This video brought to you by jadedpainting.com. If you need your miniatures painted to a tabletop standard, check out jadedpainting.com. Hey everyone, welcome to this Dark Potential painting tutorial. My name is Jay and I'll be showing you how to paint this Xlanthos Commander painted in an ice or winter theme. I began by priming the model gray using Vallejo Air Model Gray Primer. But feel free to use any light colored primer, whether it be a light blue or a white, because either one of those would also be good and suitable for this color scheme. I just chose to use a gray since we're using light and dark colored blues, and gray is an easy primer for them to go over. I base coated the entire model with a watered down Calidor Sky. Remember when priming and painting this model that the details are very fine, so you want to go over them with very thin coats of paint. So be careful when priming it, use thin coats of primer and do multiple thin layers as opposed to one thick layer. And when base coating it, use watered down or thinned down paint. I thin down almost all my paints with a 1-to-1 mix of paint and paint thinner. That way, when you go over it with these multiple layers of colors, you don't obstruct the very nice thin details on the model. For this base coat, I basically covered the entire model, whether it be the body and the gun. So as you can imagine, this step took a little bit of time, as I took my time and made sure to go over it, the entire model, very carefully with a nice coat of Calidor Sky. You won't be able to see this, but I actually went over with multiple coats, because after one coat I found that the color was not truly Calidor Sky, so I decided to do another thin layer. And that's what I recommend to you all. If after one coat you're unhappy, feel free to do a second one. Just remember to let the entire first coat completely dry before proceeding to the second coat. And continue until you get the color that you really prefer for the base coat. And here you can see the nice fine details on the back of the model, and this is what we're trying to keep with this very thin base coat. As you can see, Calidor Sky is going over relatively well since it is a nice base color from the Citadel range. And when that step was complete, I gave the entire model a shading of Drakenhoof Nightshade from the Citadel range. I didn't have to water down this Drakenhoof Nightshade since it's already thin to begin with. This shading will get in all the recesses and give some really nice depth to all the blue areas. Plus, it'll give some nice definition to the entire model, and a lot of the fine details will really pop after this step. Once again, if you're unhappy with the depth of color after one shading, feel free to do a second one. Just let the first one dry before proceeding to the second one. Luckily, shading the model always takes much less time than the base coat, so this was actually a relatively quick step. As you can see, all the nice detail on the back is really starting to pop after this shading. When the shade was dry, I gave all of the body a highlight, primarily through dry brushing or overbrushing with Techless Blue, the first layer color in the Citadel range associated with the base coat Calidor Sky. And as you can see, my overbrush or dry brushing is just focusing on all the raised areas and the edges and trying to leave the nice Drakenhoof night shaded areas in the recesses. By using repeated layers of dry brushing, you can create a really nice blend and gradient of colors, and it'll really make the edges stand out and pop when done. Just remember to use very, very little paint on your brush and to go perpendicular to the surface. As you can see here, I'm really starting to let the nice details stand out on the model, especially around the edges and on the back of the model where a lot of the awesome detail is. And with this step nearing completion, we can turn our attention to finishing up the rest of the body and starting on the gun areas of the model.